Alright folks, how's everyone doing? Right, the first chat of the night as I get all set up here. Preparing for, let me share these, and while I'm sharing these you're going to hear a slight echo. For whatever reason. You will hear it, but that'll only be for a few minutes until I share these to different pages, and then we'll make the echo go away. I can do that. Alright, we got some. There we go. Couple more, and then we'll be ready to start the show at 8 o'clock. So I'm on here pretty early. I like to get on here early. Get all this stuff done. And I'll share it to the Chiller Night group page. I'm on here pretty early. I like. All right, now the echo should be gone. Should be. Turn this a little bit. All right. How's everyone doing tonight? Hopefully good. Hopefully good. Tonight we're going to have Bryan Seech on. Mary says good evening. Good evening, Mary. Thanks for joining us. Tina says hello. Hello, Tina. Raymond says Bryan. Raymond, thanks for joining us. Got a little hand waving. All right. I think I'm all set up, folks. I think I'm all set up. Okay, all right, looking good. Now, if you're new here, I will explain, and hopefully I got rid of that echo, and if it's still there, if it's still lingering, let me know. I think it should be gone by now, though. Tonight, if you're new here, Mary, Tina, if you're new, what this is it's a little show called Chiller Chat. It's a half-an-hour program. It'll go from 8 until 8:30, and it's basically a little talk show for horror and science fiction and paranormal themed topics. And tonight I'll be having a gentleman named Bryan Seech on, and he is the actually he and his wife are the head of Center for Cryptozoological Studies, and they're also involved with the Center for Unexplained Events. So we'll have him on here pretty quick. We have 4 minutes. Now this is a live program. It's streamed live to YouTube and Facebook. And picture this as you are the audience. You're the studio audience. You're watching the episode as it's being taped. Okay? And then I, at a later time, will actually edit this particular episode, and it will debut on Stream TV on Saturday night, March 20th at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's that. And then Tina says, I met Bryan at the Borough meetings in Butler in 2014 and 2015 before my job transferred to Northeastern PA. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, then you might have met Daniel Hagman. He's head of the Borough group there. He was on last week, and now his episode will be on this Saturday night on Stream TV. So let's see, Northeastern PA, huh? Well, that's neat that you met Bryan. Let's see here. Okay. Now we'll be talking about one of the main topics. John says, greetings. Greetings, John. Thanks for joining us. Tina says, yes, Dan has some great stories. Yes, he does. Yeah, yeah. Glam says, hey, Brian, styling and profiling in that jacket. Yes, yes, sporting the official Chiller Chat blazer. So I thought about that a couple of years ago. I wanted to get a color that kind of represented the Keller, I don't know, the theme, kind of the theme of the show. Now, what to wear underneath? I was thinking, I just always wear a black T-shirt, and I thought, I'll mix it up a little bit, get crazy with it. Glam says, hi, Tina. Howdy, Raymond. Oh, yeah, 2 minutes left. Now, we'll be talking about, Brian and I will be talking about, you know, the main topic's going to be his light spear project that they are using in their investigations. If you have any questions relating to that topic, or I would imagine like orbs, light orbs, and things like that, feel free to ask, and I will try to, you know, get those questions into him. But then after, you know, we get done talking about the main topic, if you have any, you know, questions that maybe are a little off topic, but that you still want to ask Brian, feel free, and we'll get those in as best as we can. It goes really quick. It goes really, really quick. So we try to get it all in. And then Raymond says, crypto, solving codes, following a political idea. Let's see. Not the political part. Tina says, hello, Glam. Tom Paisley. Tom's with us. All right. Hey, Tom, thanks for joining us. All right. Gonna chew up my cough drop. I'm a recovering cough-a-maniac. All right, look at that. Everything's on time tonight, folks. This will be a fun episode. Okay, here we go. It's 8 o'clock. Let's begin. Hey everybody, this is Bryan Hogue. Welcome to another episode of Chiller Chat. Now tonight we'll be talking to Brian Seech, and he's actually, he and his wife are the founders, the head of Center for Cryptozoological Studies, and they are also involved with the Center for Unexplained Events. So if you've known Brian and his wife Terry, they're a long time known as the Mulder and Scully of I get pretty much Western Pennsylvania. But we'll be talking with Brian here in just a minute. But now I'd like to remind you that this coming Thursday is the Chiller Night Facebook group page watch party. So I invite you to join. Everything's at 8. All these events and shows that we do are 8 p.m. Eastern Time, just to keep it simple, just so we're not bouncing around on the clock, okay? And also, every Saturday night, please join us for the Chiller Night Live pre-show. Again, 8 o'clock. It's me, and I'm rambling on for an hour, and you guys are interacting, and it's a lot of fun. It's it takes place before the Chiller Night programming, which is then featured on Stream TV. So hope to see you then. I'm going to give Brian a call. Let me get him on the line here. All right, and again, this is interactive. Feel free to ask my question or ask questions, and I will try to get those in. Hello.
Hello, Brian.
Hey, Brian, you're on Chiller Chat. Welcome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, anytime. Absolutely. Yes, here we are once again. And I introduced already, you know, who you are, and you and your wife are with the put that back up here. The Center for Cryptozoological Studies, and also you are involved with the Center for Unexplained Events. So.
Yes.
All right. Now, what we're going to be talking about tonight, I think this is going to be a pretty interesting topic. You're going to be sharing some information about your light spear project called the Light Anomaly Exploration. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So, Bryan, in like a sentence or maybe a few sentences, can you just give us the gist of what that is, and then we'll go into all your all the information about it. But just to give it a summary of what exactly is the light anomaly exploration. Then we'll talk about that.
Okay, sure. Basically, it was a project that my wife and I started about a year and a half ago. It's coming along slowly due to several factors. But basically, we're looking to research we call them light spheres. Some people call them orbs. There's different terms for them. Basically, we're trying to get reports on people seeing these objects, working with different factors, like we're looking at space weather when these things happen. Is there any kind of effect from some of the weather from the sun, like any geomagnetic storms, solar storms, things like that, and trying to categorize them to see if there are certain factors that when people do see these things, can we come up with any correlation or work from there to see basically what these spheres / orbs, however you want to say it, are.
Now, this being different than the cryptozoological investigations, so I mean, how did you get into this?
Well, through our other group, the Q's, Center for Unexplained Events, that's our group we've had since '86. We've always been basically interested in all unexplained mysteries. My wife and I were also MUFON investigators for several years back. So we've always been interested in UFOs, ghosts, local folklore, everything. But the one thing about with this is we got interested when, as you know, and I've been on your show before, we've talked about Bigfoot and Dogman, other cryptids. Bigfoot researchers were starting to come to me or come to other groups, or I've seen posts that, hey, I was out at a Bigfoot location, doing a night stakeout, and I started seeing some of these lights in the woods. They looked like they were spheres. They were going through the trees, shooting straight up, shooting straight down. Some just disappearing in front of my eyes, and so I started saying, wow, if Bigfoot researchers are finally starting, probably in the last 4 years or so, really coming out with, I wasn't out there to see UFOs or light spheres. I was looking for Bigfoot. I'm seeing these things. So it got me interested. And also we have had a couple encounters since then of seeing some of these spheres or ovals or orbs. And it just got us intrigued. And it's kind of like a whole different section of research now that we're really excited about.
Raymond wants to know, he's one of our viewers, he writes, please define crypto in terms of the paranormal.
Crypto, or actually cryptozoology, is the search for hidden or unknown animals not recognized by science. And some of the creatures, obviously Bigfoot, Dogman, Mothman, creatures that have not been properly identified by science because they have not been studied, or they don't have a body, so they can't define what they are.
Okay. All right. So you and Terry, you started this up about a year ago? Did I hear that right?
About a year and a half, about almost quite like a year and a half since we started.
Okay. Now, what do you take us through one of your investigations, and what are you finding out there using this process?
Yeah, basically we go to certain locations, certain areas that people have seen lights or have had, paranormal activity, or someplace, even a location that we may encounter some of these things. And then we set up, and we have a couple pieces of equipment we use, and we basically beforehand we take the space weather, we see what kind of conditions are for that night, and then we sit out there and use some things we have, and then we document anything we see. And we've had some interesting results. It's been interesting. There's definitely something with this light phenomena that has been going back for years. And back then they would either call them spook lights, ghost lights, will-o'-the-wisp. Corpse candles is one I like. That's another one. And one of my favorites is hobby lanterns. So these phenomena have been with us for centuries. And there's also like places all across the United States, like the Brown Mountain Lights in Georgia, the Hornet Spook Light in Joplin, Missouri, the Paulding Light in Paulding, Michigan, even overseas, actually, which a lot of people may not know. They have like the Min Min lights in Australia, the Naga fireballs in Thailand, and then also one of my favorites is the Hesdalen lights in Norway. So there are also places across the globe that do have these phenomena occurring at regular intervals also, not just when people are out on investigations in other different parts of the country.
So they're not just being viewed on film after the fact. You did you just say that about a minute or so ago that you're actually seeing them? You're actually seeing this with the naked eye, or was I wrong?
Yeah. That's and definitely the one. And we're not the only ones. That's when we take reports, we have a small reporting form, and we take reports. We say we want to know about reports you have seen with your own eyes, and then have caught on film. Not unlike when ghost hunting, somebody will go in a room and take a picture, and hey, there's an orb. It could be spirit, yeah, but it also could be dust or moisture or anomaly in the film. We're actually interested in the ones that you can see with your naked eye.
Okay, and then and if you're seeing them and you're seeing something registering on this device, or the I don't know what you call the device. Is that the light anomaly? Well, that's the investigation, I take it. But
yeah.
Now, if you're seeing the light orbs and then you're also seeing something triggered on that device, I mean, what's that tell you?
Well, it's not that this device isn't going to show a trigger, but it is kind of somebody said it's like a beacon. Okay. You're shooting up some frequencies, and hopefully with the right, the conditions, possibly the space weather, things like that, maybe they appear, and maybe there is a correlation between, like again, geomagnetic storms or solar flares or things like that. It's kind of been like, especially like in the paranormal, the ghost hunting field, is some people do believe that there are certain astronomical or even weather events that will trigger like possible more paranormal activity than usual in a location. So I think there does have to be a lot more research done into what the weather conditions or any outside influence that's happening when you're in a location, whether you're looking for paranormal, ghosts, or looking for light spheres, or maybe even Bigfoot. There may be some kind of correlation there that we're just not seeing or understanding yet. Maybe it's bringing the phenomena to your eyes, to your senses, so you can actually see them.
Have you been seeing that? Have you and your group been seeing that? Any type of common denominators or anything correlating with either the orbs or Bigfoot sightings, anything like that with what you're doing now?
Well, again, we're also taking other people's reports and we're trying to narrow down. And it's very hard to take an older report to narrow down a date where you can go back and look at the weather phenomena. And some of the stuff we've done, we found that we've only done a small amount of investigations to date, but we found that there one or two frequencies do seem to, if there is activity, they seem to go more to the one frequency than the other ones that we use. So again, it's still so new, and we still have so many things to categorize and to basically possibly add or subtract from what we're doing. So we're looking for some kind of correlation, which, any kind of like scientific correlation that we could, hey, maybe after we do another 20 or 30 investigations plus with what we got, maybe we could start to say, hey, look, we've had activity on boom, 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 these certain dates, and this is what happened during those certain dates, and then maybe we can start to draw some kind of correlation to what's happening and what these light spheres are. We just don't know at this point.
One of our viewers, Tom, he asks, can these be seen anywhere, or are they highly localized in the places that you mentioned?
No, the thing is these things are being seen everywhere. Different colors too, and this is what there's white, green, red, a lot of orange fireballs in Pennsylvania, and blue. And no, they can't be seen anywhere. We had a report last year of a green fireball following a family as they were coming home late one night on 279. You know where that is because you're kind of familiar with the area, and it followed along with them for about maybe 20 seconds, and then shot straight up in the air and disappeared. So yeah, they're being seen. We're looking into a possible report. I just got a couple little details about it. One of these orbs actually came into a house, and the little girl was watching it, and it just shot straight back out. And there's reports of again, these things going straight down on the ground, flying through trees. Some people say, hey, what are these things? I mean, are they UFOs? Are they alien probes? Is it a sentient energy? Is it a plasma ball? Plasma makes up about, I think, 90% of the material on Earth, in space. So could it be something like a plasma ball? People have suggested that maybe this just could be ball lightning, but ball lightning usually occurs during a storm, and they're very brief when you see them. Even scientists don't know a ton about them, but these spheres are seen longer. They sometimes seem to be intelligent. They'll follow people. They've been shot at. They've broken into two, which would happen to one of the times we were up at Livermore a couple years ago, and we saw one. It was over the Conemaugh River and kind of split into two, and as we lost sight of it going across the horizon. So we have to ask yourself, what are they? We just don't. I wish I had some kind of answer right now, but we'll probably never have an answer, don't get me wrong, but maybe if we can get a little piece of the puzzle, somebody else can take it over down the road, and maybe they'll have more of an answer.
Well, I mean, you got to take those first steps to get anywhere in the science world. So I mean, you never know. I mean, they could be, I guess a spirit. They could be little doorways to other dimensions. Who knows? I don't know. If it was just on a photograph, like like the ones I've been putting up, and you did not send me these. I just put these up. But stuff like that. I am initially prone to think dust particles in the camera light. However, you were talking about them changing the position of the direction they were going in, or shooting straight up in the sky, or going into a house and then going back out. And you said something else. You said something about one splitting in two. Did you say it was shot at? Somebody shot it?
Well, that was an oral report, believe it or not, back in the Wild West days, where a gentleman was a prospector, and this is in like a Fate magazine article, and he actually shot at it, kind of split into two. So when we say that this phenomenon has been going for a long time, it has. So this isn't something that's a new phenomenon. It's being, when I said it's new, it's being reported more by Bigfoot researchers and other people. Even campers are out at night, and they're seeing it. There was actually, I talked to a gentleman that I know. He actually saw one as a kid up by Kennerdale, which I know you're definitely familiar with that area.
Yeah.
And he said that it was weird. It was like a bright light. It was going over the river, And he said, he goes, Bryan, it didn't cast a shadow. I said, what do you mean? He said it was a bright light going over the water, but it did not cast a shadow in the water. And I'm like, wow. I mean, he said it looked like it was self-luminescent, and it was just coming up the river, and as a kid, he got scared, and him and his buddy just ran out of there. It was, obviously this was at night, but they're seen in the day, they're seen in the night. You can obviously pick them out better at night, but it's just interesting to see if we could just get more information on what some of these things are. Are they just atmospherical, or what if they are like a sentient energy form? There was a book, a UFO book, it's called Sky Creatures by James, I think. Oh boy, the name from I forget the name right now, but he theorized that there were like beings or amoeba-like beings or things like that in the atmosphere, and they called them like sky creatures. So could they be? Oh, I think Constable was his name was. I think his last name was James Constable, I believe. And he theorized that maybe they're up in the atmosphere. There are some of these living energy life forms.
Well, Raymond asks, are there paintings or stories from, he's kind of specific here, 17th century Native Americans who saw such lights? I would imagine it wouldn't have to be just the 17th century, but but the question, like, are there paintings or anything that indicates that this was, going on for quite some time even with the Native Americans?
The Native American angle, I have not followed up on that yet, but I do know, like, there were a lot of older reports. Like, we have one here, we live in Beaver County, Pennsylvania, and in the 1800s, there was an old church, and this happened during the day, and these people were coming out after the service, and they saw, I believe it was like 16 red fireballs going over their church, and then just hovering and then just disappearing. So it's, could that have been like ball lightning? But there was at the time, there was no storms or anything in the area. So what were they?
Right. Well, what's the device that you use to do this with your new light sphere project?
Well,
can you explain that a little bit?
The one little piece is called a Spooky 2, and it's a Rife machine. Okay. There's also another component to that, which was handmade, and we're not going to say too much about that right now. But using these in conjunction to try to with the weather conditions to see if we can have see them more often, or draw some kind of conclusion from there. That's basically kind of what we're doing in a roundabout. It's a little more complicated, but in a roundabout way. Again, it's still a new project, and so I don't, we're still keeping a lot under the hat there. So yep, trade secrets. It's understandable. Well, let's see. Paul says, I guess this is a little off of that particular topic, but maybe it can tie in. Let me read the whole question here. Hi Bryan, how are you doing? Great show. Can I ask if Expedition Bigfoot is real, and do you think that we are close to the truth? Wants to know about Bigfoot, and what do you think? And I suppose this can be utilized with a cryptozoological expedition, like you were explaining earlier. Like, it may tie in, it may not. That's what you're trying to find out, right? Yeah. Again, even on I watched the first series, season 1 of Expedition Bigfoot. Unfortunately, season 2 is now on the pay channel, and just like anything else, everybody wants you to pay for everything anymore, so you can't afford all. I want to get Disney, but that's extra money, right? But I enjoyed the first season. I thought it was good. I met and I talked to Ronnie LeBlanc. They had they saw an orb, I think, in the first season, and also Ronnie. If you read his book, because I met him down at the Creature Weekend, I think 2 years ago, he saw I believe it was a red orb that went into the ground. He saw it, and it went into the ground, and shortly after, he heard something huge walking around it when they were outside at night. So he believes in that phenomenon. And if anyone gets a shot, A Monster Land by Ronnie LeBlanc, very good book. And it does mention the other book, Hunt for Skinwalker, the Skinwalker. In there at the Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, there's the one thing about, I believe that they were two blue orbs that they were sitting on their porch, and they had two dogs, and these blue orbs were floating in trees, and the dogs ran after these blue orbs, and they went out of sight, and then all of a sudden they heard these howls from the dog, and the dogs didn't come back. Well, the next morning they go, and there's like two burnt piles of where the dog should have been. He burnt the dogs.
Oh, geez.
So so there's a lot, and we're trying to collect this data too from like we talked about, like our library. We jokingly call it the S files for Seech files, and there's a lot in there that we haven't even started to go through yet. I mean, we have a nice little collection already, but some of these older articles and talking about even in the 50s and 60s about some of these, they didn't call them light spheres then, but. Yeah, no matter what your term is, I mean, again, it's an interesting thing, and there's not a lot of research that has been done on them yet. But I think it is the next thing that you're going to be seeing a lot about in the next 3 or 4 years. I do believe that.
Doc Dredd writes, in the novel Dracula, Dracula stops the carriage because of will-o-wisp. Is that similar? I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, that's another term, like will-o-the-wisp. Like I said, they would call them corpse lights or ghost lights. Night fire is another one. So I think it's just a different term for what fairy lights is another phenomenon that they have. Hey, those lights, those are fairy lights. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the will-o-the-wisp type phenomena.
It sounds like it. Now I'd like to put up some information here for some upcoming events. I'd like to put that in right now, just because I know how quickly the last few minutes of the show go, and I want to make sure that we touch on this. I'm going to put that up right now. The Butler Paranormal Conference, that's going to be coming up soon, and in the Paranormal Marketplace. Do you want to mention those two events there, Bryan?
Yeah, the April 24th is going to be the Butler Paranormal Conference, and our group Q co-sponsors that. Dan Hagman from Boru, who you're going to have on, but this, I think you said Saturday.
Yeah.
He's the one that runs it. We're going to have 5 speakers. It runs from I think 10 to 6. $15 admission. We're going to have over 40 vendors, and it takes place at the Tanglewood in Lindora, Pennsylvania. And our event is August 1st. It's called the Paranormal Marketplace. It takes place in Monaca, PA, and it is basically, we can kind of say it's almost like a paranormal / sci-fi flea market, and it's free to attend, and I believe that starts at 11 a.m. at the center stage in Monaca, Beaver County, PA.
Okay. Now, how can folks, whether they want to attend these events or even get in touch with you, how can they do that?
I'd say probably the best thing on Facebook is to go to Center for Unexplained Events on Facebook, and then message me from there. It'll probably be because I know most people there are on Facebook.
Okay, so just go to Center for Unexplained Events on Facebook, and then you can message.
Yeah, message me there. Or we also put like any kind of events coming up, or if we should be speaking somewhere, that we put it on there, and then they also could get in touch with me just to go on the Center for Cryptozoological Studies Facebook page also and message me. Either way.
Okay, all right, great. I'm going to try to be at both of those events as well.
Yeah, we'd like to see you there.
Yeah, that'd be great. I was looking forward to it last year, but we all know what happened there, and
yeah.
So hopefully we'll all get a chance to get together again here soon.
And that's where I first met you. Actually, was at the Butler Paranormal a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe. Forget.
Yeah, at least 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hoping to meet a lot of interesting people with a lot of interesting topics and things to say there.
Oh, there's a lot of guests that we can hook you up with that that your audience would love, because just we have a group of people who go there. Dan and us, we've been able to get some of the we call them all grassroots researchers. Basically, we're just just like you or whoever else, we're out there mostly under the radar, actually, but just researching, trying to find answers. That's what we want. We want to, if we could find answers or give somebody down the road a small piece of the puzzle so they can find the answer. Either way, and the people that come are very passionate about what we do. Everybody says the one event that we like is the Butler Paranormal Conference, and this will be the 13th year. Obviously, it should be the 14th, but we had to cancel last year's. But one of the biggest and longest running in Pennsylvania.
Well, like Raymond writes here, he writes, the truth is out there. So keep searching, keep looking, and never lose that hunger for finding it. And I'm sure you will. Paul writes, Bigfoot they say is interdimensional. I've heard that. And
it very well could be. We don't know. It's always been a topic that we've taken seriously. Yeah. Because we came from the UFO field, and we've researched. One of our favorite magazines is Fate magazine. We have a lot of those, and in Fate magazine they talk about all phenomena, not just UFOs or Bigfoot. So we've been, portals, another thing I talked about with you. Very interested in that. Could some of these creatures, alien beings, come through, on certain places on the Earth where there's ley lines or some kind of energy? Could they pop in and out? Unbeknownst by science somehow. That's what I try to tell people. We say interdimensional, but we don't know the specifics or how it works.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're getting there, though. Well,
everybody tries. There's a lot of people who are trying and doing their best to try to find answers.
Brian, I appreciate all the work that you guys do. All of you guys. I know there's a lot of you guys out there doing this, and you put a lot of work into it. You really do. We are at the I told you. This goes so quick. It goes quick, and we're at the end of this particular episode. But I want to thank you so much for coming on, and maybe we'll even do the Bigfoot interdimensional topic, or something like that. That is fascinating. I think that is a very fascinating topic.
It could explain a lot of things. How a creature is seen in one area and all of a sudden it's gone, but it just reappears in another area. Yeah. Where does it? My good friend Fred Slugo always says, where does it come from and where does it go? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Brian, thank you very much. I appreciate you being on Chiller Chat tonight.
Oh, I had a great time. Thank you. Anytime.
All right.
Anytime. Look forward to seeing you soon also.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Brian, we'll talk to you later.
Okay, take care.
You too. Bye. All right, folks, thank you. Have a good night. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for your comments and questions, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night. Have a good chiller night.